Hello everyone, welcome back to the library. I'm Laura. Today I'm going to be doing my January wrap-up. So before we get started, I just want to mention a few things. First off, I just want to send a huge thank you to Sean over at the channel Eclectic Reads. He did a small booktuber shout out and included me in it, and I had no idea. I really don't have many subscribers, don't get a whole lot of views yet, so I was very surprised to get that shout out from him. So Sean, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm sure everyone else in that video did. Secondly, I just really want to apologize that I'm not getting to upload much. I believe I mentioned this in my December haul that I did, but I did get engaged in December on Christmas, and I am getting married in April. My fiance and I have been together for 6 years, and my cousin is getting married in November of this year, so we really didn't want to wait any longer or impede on their wedding, and a lot of stuff in both our families happens in the fall, so we just wanted to get it done. So I really apologize to those of you who really enjoy my videos that I probably won't be uploading with a whole lot of frequency, but I will try to get up at least 3 to 4 videos a month until the wedding is over, and then hopefully I can upload several times a week. I can't make any promises right now, but hopefully. So I just wanted to let you know that that's why I'm not getting to upload a lot. I really would love to, but when I get home from work, and I've been doing a lot of overtime too, all I want to do is either rest or I have to do wedding planning. So I really hope to be getting back to uploading more once all this is over, and once I'm married, and hopefully I will have a lot more time. So let's get on to all the books that I read in January. The first book that I read in January I actually listened to on audiobook, and that was A Man Called Ova by Frederick Bachman. And someone wanted to tell me why I waited so long to read this, because I've heard people talk about it on BookTube for the last year, and just, you know, kept putting it off, saw it at used bookstores, still didn't pick it up, but I finally just needed something pretty easy to listen to at the beginning of the year once I got back to work, and this was the first one I chose. If you don't know about this book, it is about an older Swedish man named Ova who lives in this neighborhood, and you know, because he's retired, and he just kind of goes around walking around the neighborhood making sure that everything is the way it's supposed to be in his mind. So if something's wrong, he just grumbles, or he finds someone to yell at. And this new couple, new family moves in next door, and as he calls them, foreigners, and they do everything wrong. They park where they're not supposed to, they tear up his garden and his mailbox, but eventually, of course, they win him over, and he almost becomes kind of like an uncle, grandfatherly figure to them. It's very reminiscent of Gran Torino, but definitely has a different ending. But I loved that movie, which I just saw like last year, and so I really loved this book, and it was my first Frederick Bachman book to read, and I really hope to continue and read the rest of his books soon. This was a 5-star read for me. The next book that I read was What Alice Forgot by Leanne Moriarty, and I actually picked this book up from Walmart right before the new year. I was house sitting for some friends and didn't have any books with me for some reason, so I went and picked this up, but then I didn't end up starting it till after the new year. But if you don't know, this is about a woman named Alice who gets hit on the head while she's at the gym and basically forgets 10 years of her life. She doesn't know she has children. She doesn't know that she's getting a divorce from her husband, who she thought was the love of her life. So all these things happen in her life, and she has no idea why. And so basically she has to figure out what she did, the person that she became, and if she can start over or at least change some things. I had mixed feelings about this during reading it. I really loved it at parts, and some parts were a little eh. But in the end, I really ended up loving this and gave it 4 stars. I really, really love Leanne Moriarty's writing. This is her 4th book that I've read, and I plan to read everything else she has. So yes, I really enjoyed this, and I plan on hopefully getting a better copy, because this is just mass market paperback. But I really, really enjoyed this book. The next 5 books that I read were part of the series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. I actually listened to the last 5 books on audiobook. In around the middle of 2017, I listened to the first 8, I believe 8 books, and I got a little burnt out, so I had to take a break. And so I listened to the last 5 in the beginning of January while I was doing work. All of them are usually like 4 to 6 hours long, so I could listen to them in a day. So I got to the 10th book as a kid twice and gave up because I hated that book. It was boring. I didn't get far into it, but I just couldn't stand it. And so I knew I finally wanted to finish it, and that still ended up being one of my least favorite books. So I'll just go through them real quick and give them the star rating. So The Carnivorous Carnival, number 9, I gave 4 stars. The Slippery Slope, number 10, the one I always got stuck on, still didn't like, 3 stars. The Penultimate Peril, number 11, I gave 4 stars. This was probably one of my favorites in the series. The Grim Grotto, number 12, I gave 3 stars. And The End, number 13, I gave 3 stars and kind of want to lower it. One of the most disappointing things in my life. It's been over 10 years. Actually, it might have been longer than that, because these books came out in the early 2000s. And so these were some of my favorites as a kid until I could get to that one, and that stopped me. And I loved some of them I didn't like so much, but I was really hoping, especially with the mystery surrounding all of it, that by the time I got to number 13, my mind would be blown and everything would, just be revealed, and not really. I mean, sorry to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil what happens in any of the books, but come on, Lemony Snicket. I think you ruined a lot of kids' lives. I'm sure there's people who enjoyed the end, but my mom finished these books when I read them as a kid. She finished them, and she told me that she felt the same way. Just kind of disappointed. Always hoped this would be a series that I would buy and have on my shelves, but now I don't think so anymore. Not that I hated any of them, but just disappointing overall. The next book that I read, and was another one I listened to on audiobook, was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This is about a woman who goes on a cruise, and she thinks she hears her next door neighbor get thrown into the ocean during the night. And she ends up calling security and talking to everyone on the boat, and everybody's like, there was no one in that cabin. And basically they're calling her crazy and all this stuff and paranoid. And I won't say much more because this is a thriller mystery. So, like I said, I won't say a whole lot. Ruth Ware's writing is okay. I read In a Dark, Dark Wood in 2017, and I think I gave it 2 or 2.5 stars. Mostly because the protagonist in that book is just the stupidest woman. I hate to say that, but she was just dumb. And I can't stand dumb characters. And the character in this book was just kind of stupid too. And so I think I'm going to read her third book. And if I'm still not crazy about it, I'm not going to finish because I just don't like her characters. So I probably won't read anything else from her once I read that last book that she has out. And I did give this book 3 stars. I liked it better than In a Dark, Dark Wood, but still didn't like it that much. Next, I read The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett, and this is in his series Discworld, and this is the first one that he published. Now, this series is huge and encompasses other series within it. It is a fantasy series, and Terry Pratchett's writing is hilarious. This book actually took me a while to read because Terry Pratchett's writing is kind of flowery, but in a funny way, like not like old English writing flowery, just because he's trying to be flowery and trying to sound ridiculous. But I read this book, like I said, it took me a little while, but I finally finished it. This is about a wizard who kind of failed and only knows one spell, which he can't even speak. And his name is Rincewind, and he is told to watch over this very rich man from another part of the world whose name is Twoflower, who is a very, very strange man who has a set of luggage that has hundreds of legs and eats people and has a tongue and can produce whatever you want within it. It's a very strange book, very strange. This whole series is very strange. I've heard some people say that some of his other books are easier to start with in some of the other series, but I want to read them in publication order because that's just how I am with certain things, especially with series. I think that's just the better way to go, even though there are series within the series. Overall, I gave this 4 stars. I was going to read the rest of the ones my library had. Well, I think I got 3 more, and I think I had those in my January TBR, but I did not end up reading those. I just need to take a little break from his writing, and I'll pick them up maybe later in the year, maybe next year, but I do want to finish the series because it is hilarious. Next, I read 3 Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake, which was from the library, so I don't have it, but I do have the sequel, One Dark Throne. I'm not going to hold this up because it is shiny, but just wanted to show you what the covers look like. They're really cool. And this book is the start of a fantasy series about a matriarchal society, this island, where the queen always has a set of triplet girls. And these triplets each get a different power. There are the poisoners, the naturalists, and the elementals. And once they reach the age of 6, they are separated into 3 different homes where they are raised and learn their powers. And they are basically being raised to kill each other off eventually once they reach the age of 16. So that's what this book is about. And this was one of the first books I heard of on BookTube, but I just kept putting it off. Let me just say, this is a YA fantasy, but it was amazing. I started it one day and read about 100 pages in a day, like through work. Like, not when I was working, just at lunch and stuff. And then the next day, I was sick and read the entire rest of the book. So I read the book in 2 days. Automatically was like 5 stars. The writing was so good. The characters were really good. There's a little bit of cringy romance, a love triangle, but it's YA, so I expect it. But it wasn't the worst. It actually really wasn't that bad. But I loved the magic system. I loved how the characters just acted with each other, how they related. And like I immediately went and picked up the second book as soon as I was done with the first one. I'm currently going through the second one, One Dark Throne. It's taking me a little longer. I'm not loving it quite as much, but it's still a good story. I think I already mentioned it, but I gave Three Dark Crowns 5 stars, just ready for this series to continue on forever. The next book that I read, I listened to on audiobook, and that was The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This is another book I heard about early on BookTube. I believe I heard about it from Books with Emily Fox. And so this is about a man and a woman who meet in an airport bar, and the man tells the woman that he's been thinking about killing his wife. And so they basically just talk and plan this out. Like I said, I heard about this early on BookTube and was really interested in the premise. But once I actually got to listening to this book and everything, I wasn't that impressed. The writing was fine. The characters are all horrible, but I mean, that's fine. It's a mystery thriller. A lot of times they're not the greatest characters. I'm not going to talk a lot about this book because, as I said, it is a mystery thriller, but what you read on the synopsis is maybe not what you're going to get. I think I had different ideas of what this book was going to be than it ended up being. And it wasn't horrible. I think I will read more from Peter Swanson, but this didn't end up being a favorite for me. I gave it 3 stars. And the last book that I read in January was a nonfiction memoir, and that was Rhett and Link's Book of Mythicality by Rhett McLaughlin and Link Neal. And if you don't know who they are the hosts of Good Mythical Morning, which is a show they started on YouTube that they have every morning on the weekdays. And I believe it started, I don't even remember when. It's been on for like 5 or 6 years now. And they've been on YouTube for longer than that, just doing silly videos, commercials and stuff. The first time I heard about them was at church. My youth minister played one of their videos where they would talk to each other, and then they would read the closed captioning and write it down, and then redo the scene with the closed captioning, what it said, and then do it again one more time. And it's just hilariously stupid. So I never thought that those guys would get famous. I didn't watch them for years, really, until I went to college. And then I've kind of gone on and off of watching Good Mythical Morning as they've changed. There's been times I've really liked the show, times I didn't. Currently, I'm not subscribed to them, but I was excited about their book and still read it. This just goes through their lives. Rhett and Link have been friends since they were in first grade. And they have stayed best friends since then through living in North Carolina and starting their business, and then moving to LA and continuing their business together. It's just about their lives, the different things they've gone through. It was hilarious at times. It was really sad at times. And I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. There were parts of it that were kind of boring to me, but not many. Most of it was just really funny, it made me laugh. There's all sorts of pictures from their lives and everything. If you don't know about Rhett and Link, then this might not be the book for you, but if you know who they are, you'll probably love this. And if you don't know who they are, you should definitely check out some of their more popular videos. And even some of their new stuff if you want to. Please just check out their channels. They're very talented and really, really funny guys. And so I really did love this book and was excited my library had it and I got to read it. So like I said, I gave that 4.5 stars. So those are all the books that I read in January. I had actually a really good start to this year, I think. A couple of 5 stars, a couple of 4 stars and 3 stars. Nothing horrible yet, so that's good. I feel like this year is going to be a really good reading year with the books that I've picked out. Of course, I can always be disappointed by something I thought I was going to love, but that happens a lot, especially when you're picky about books like I am. But like I said, this was everything I had from this month. Let me know if you've read anything that I read and what you felt about it. Let me know if you'd like to know anything else about these books, and I'll respond to you in the comments. Hopefully I will be putting up some more videos soon, like I said earlier, because I am excited to film and put stuff up. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I hope you have a good rest of your day and a great rest of your week. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.